not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, we're tearing an engine apart. So, driving to work this morning, had to turn around and come back home, get something I forgot. Anyway, made it like less than a mile down the road. Turn around, come back, and I started smelling a little bit of coolant. Stop at a stoplight. Steam everywhere. Yeah. Turned it off, hopped out, looked at it, and it was overheating a little bit. And I didn't felt the the intake tube wasn't terribly hot. The top radiator hose was cold. We're up, normal temperature. Anyway, not cold, but yeah. I was like, well, I'm gonna get home. I was like 2 blocks from home, get home. And then after work, I decided, hey, let's throw a thermostat in it. Maybe the thermostat wasn't opening. It's not a thermostat problem. I got something majorly wrong. So let's dig into it. Okay, so I figure I better run you through a little bit of diagnosis on this and how I'm diagnosing the problem. I put a thermostat on it because it was cheap and easy. It's right there. 2 bolts, pop it off, pop a new one in. Bada bing, bada boom, done. Well, I'll drain the water out. Anyway. And then after I put new water in it, I like to start it up with the radiator cap off, so I can see sometimes it'll burp a little bit, to see if it's taking it. Sometimes the level will go down, and that way I know if it's whatever. Well, this time, the first time I've ever seen one do that and just blow the water out, that's bad. That's compression from the pistons going up and down. That's compression pushing over into the water side. So I got to get that figured out, where that's coming from. The other thing I'm looking at, I'd maintain this thing as best as I can. So I keep it topped off on oil. Let's see, I do my oil changes on time and everything like that. And if you looky here, dipstick, I don't know if you can see that. You look where that oil is on that dipstick. It is about a half quart high. Right there. Little half quart high, and it's slightly discolored. I have less than 1,000 miles on this oil change. That oil should be so clear, you got to look at it just right to see it on the dipstick. Yeah, that. So I'm getting some coolant into my oil. Not so much that it's totally milkshaked. I'm getting some coolant in my oil, and I'm getting a lot of coming out here. So I'm gonna pull the spark plugs, and I gotta pull them anyway because I think it's a blown head gasket. So I basically have to pull the whole top end off the engine. Before I order parts, I'm going to pull it apart and see what parts I need. Because if it's beyond that, I might just put a 2-3 in this. Anyway, but yeah, we're gonna do that. Let's do that. All right, plugs are out. This is the one at the front of the engine. It looks, can you get focused on that? Looks good. It looks good. Uh-oh. I don't know if you can see that. Thing looks like it's been soaking. Yeah. And so dry, really wet and ugly. Dry and dry. Head gasket. Awesome. No, it's not awesome. All right, yep, so pull spark plugs. 1 out of 4 is super wet with, don't know if it's antifreeze or oil. Probably crap on my face now. Oh well. All right, yeah, so that's a pretty good indication it's head gasket. First indication it's overheating. Second indication is pressure in your radiator cap. Third indication is water in the oil, or your oil level is coming up, which means antifreeze is getting in there. There's only other liquid in the thing other than gas. And a spark plug's wet. So multiple things pointing to a blown head gasket. Hopefully it's just a head gasket and not anything more serious. So let's rip the top of the engine apart and go from there. I'm going to take off my intake or this air intake hat, whatever you want to call that. I'm gonna take the distributor cap off. I'm gonna pull the exhaust manifold back. I'm gonna take the whole intake manifold. I'm just gonna pull it back. I'm gonna pull the timing chain. I'm gonna take the radiator out, drain the oil out, pull the timing cover off, take the timing belt off, and then take the valve cover off, and I should be able to pop the head off at that point. So I'm not gonna, basically, I'm not even gonna I probably should disconnect my battery. I'm not disconnecting all of the intake stuff. I'm just gonna take the bolts out of it and pull it back out of the way with disconnecting as little as possible. Same thing on the exhaust. I'll probably unplug my O2 sensor, take the exhaust manifold out, because you might as well anyway. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, really wanted to show you this. I loosened the plug already and I went like this. Oh, let me turn this light so you can see that better. There we go. This is my oil plug. Look at that, see that? Loosen it up. That coming out, oh, come on. Loosen up a little bit, see that coming out? That's antifreeze. See that? That means there's antifreeze in my oil. So anytime you have antifreeze in your oil, it's a major problem. Then I start getting oil. There wasn't a lot in there, but that oil's not the right color. Don't know how well you can see that on the camera. Oh wow. That was pretty milky. Not good. Not good at all. I gotta wipe my hand off. Yeah, bad news. Bad news. Lots of antifreeze in the oil. Alright. Back to time lapse and tearing the radiator out and everything else off of this thing. All right, we got it all torn apart. We're ready to pull the head. So I haven't seen this. I don't know what I'm expecting. So just saw me on the time lapse. Just finished the time lapse, tearing everything out. The head is ready to pop off. The head bolts are out. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna set you guys up here like you were for the time lapse, and let's see how this goes. Bigger hammer. Okay, it's loose. There it goes. What am I gonna find? Oh! Cute little pistons. See this cylinder here? How all the carbon is washed off of it. See how these are black? This one here's got all the carbon washed off. There was water in that combustion chamber. Up here, this one looks okay though. Don't see all the carbon washed off of it, but I still see that smooth spot on the gasket right there. Let's see here. Nothing. That's interesting. That's broken. See that ring right there? It's actually broken like that. That's interesting. Very interesting. Let's pop the head gasket off of here. All right, you're gonna have to give me a second so I can get this off. Ooh, my dowel pin's coming with it. Let's put that dowel pin back in that hole, preferably. All right, let's look at this side of the head gasket. Other than that little piece right there, oh, nothing that's really a smoking gun. This is not what I wanted to see. All right, now that the head gasket's off of it, what I'm looking for is a passageway from the combustion chamber into the water jacket, which is here. Let's see, which one's water? Yeah, this is all water. Water. It's looking for a pathway. This is the one that had water in it. I don't see the clear pathway into the combustion chamber. Good news is all my valves look in great shape. Well, oh crap, I'm upside down. Oh no, I was doing all of that upside down. Some of that may have been filmed upside down because the camera was upside down. See if I can edit that one. All right, we're gonna go look at the block and see what we can find over there. All right, that's probably all for tonight. Nothing major wrong. I don't know what happened. Usually you can see where the gasket blew, but I don't know. Anyway, time to go order parts. See what happens. That's about all for tonight. Took me about 2 hours. 2 hours total to tear everything down to this. It was about 2 hours. So, not terribly hard. If you know what you're doing, if you know how to use a set of tools, it's not terribly hard. Going back together will be a little longer because I'm going to be more careful with it because I want to just watch every little thing going back together. But that's where we're at. About 2 hours to tear down. Let's see what it takes me to put it back together. See if I remember to tell you how long it takes me to put it back together. What's your guesses? Comment below. All right, it's been a couple days, and I got a little carried away. Yeah. Little carried away. I ended up pulling the engine and transmission out and transfer case. I pulled it all out in one. And the reason I did that, I had a little bit of work to do. I wanted to check my transmission and check the transfer case and check my clutch because I'm into this thing anyway. Might as well do it. That's what I did. You don't have to if you're just changing your head gasket. One of the things I did though is I ended up doing the whole thing. I ended up taking the head into the machine shop and getting it all redone. It's in a bag over here, looking all beautiful. I definitely recommend that. Usually when you overheat them, head gasket blows, you warp the head. Every time I've had that issue on a car, I don't know how many of these Suzuki engines I've done, aluminum engines, the head's gonna warp. That head was 6 thousandths out, when tolerance I think is less than 2 thousandths. So they planed it, got it back within spec. So definitely take it into a machine shop, pressure tested it, make sure there's no cracks, everything else, and it was good. So if you're just doing the head, that's what to do. Take it in, get it checked. Unfortunately, that one it cost me about 200 bucks. What's it? I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, anyway. So we're going to get all of this shoved back in there. I won't bore you with the time lapse. And then I'll continue where I left off with putting the head back on the car. I'm gonna shove it in. Usually I put the head on the engine stand, but for the sake of this video, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put it back in so you guys can see what it would take to do it in the vehicle. So I'm just gonna shove all this back in there and do it like Mary Poppins, make it magic like that. I can't snap. Just like that, it's in. So, see that? Transmission, engine, transfer case, all mounted back in there. The only thing that's not in there right now that was in there before was the intake manifold, but that's no big deal. We'll slip that back in. Anyway, we're gonna start reassembling the head. So, all right, the head's sitting here. Machine shop put it in a plastic bag to keep my car clean. Now, first thing we're gonna do is put the housing assembly for the distributor back on there. They've got this thing mostly cleaned up. This oil ring right here. That's one of the areas that you get oil leaks in these things. So you want to make sure that you got it. You want to make sure you replace that oil ring, and I always like to put a little bit of grease on oil rings. It helps them seal better. So I'm gonna stick a little grease on this, and we're gonna put that on there. All right, we got the distributor housing back on the head. Got the little O-ring in it and grease and everything. Now we're gonna start working in the engine bay. I'll show you what I did here. Point this down. So I took masking tape and I just covered the top of the engine with masking tape to make sure that I didn't get any crap in the engine, and seemed to work. I like that trick. So I'm going to point out a couple things here. This is with the head gasket. Let's see if I can get this camera pointing where I need it to point. Okay, a couple things with the head gasket. See the little hole right here? That little hole is where the oil is supplied to the top of the head. If you look at the front of the engine, see this little pipe, this little thing right here? Comes off the oil pump and it pushes the oil up through that little hole. And that's what supplies oil to the top of the head, which means this gasket will go on here like that, with that hole lined up with the one below it. So these are all your oil return galleys. It just lets it fall down, and bada bing, bada boom. Just like that. So that's how your head gasket goes on. Let's well, we're gonna take the head, we're gonna plop it on. Okay, we're gonna check the head, make sure it's all nice and clean all the way down. Brand new freshly planed head. It's time to all right, make sure that thing's pointed the right direction. All right, head is set on there. Now we're gonna actually put head bolts in. That's what we're gonna do. So if you have OEM Suzuki head bolts, you can reuse them because they're not torque to yield. I'm not certain I had OEM head bolts, so I actually went ahead and bought some new ones. So one thing I'm gonna do, so I got my new head bolts. I like to use copper anti-seize on them. It's a good lubricant for the threads for when you're torquing them. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, head bolts are all greased up and put in there. Service manual says to put them, to actually douse them with engine oil. I did the copper stuff. Either way, I think it's fine. I'll throw a picture up right here of the torque specs and the tightening sequence. What I did on mine, show you here, turn the camera down so you can see. I went and I actually just numbered the bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh shoot, 7, 8, 9, 10. My 9 got rubbed off. That's all right. Anyway, and so what I'm gonna do, and you're supposed to gradually tighten them. I went and I used the one torque wrench. I got them down about 10 foot-pounds each. Now I'm gonna take my other torque, my good torque wrench. I'm gonna go to about 20 foot-pounds each, and then probably 30 foot-pounds. And then I think the spec said 51 to 54, so I'll take them to about 50. I'll probably set my torque wrench at about 54, 50, something like that, and take final. So we're gonna start torquing these down. Start with number 1. So come on. Maybe 20 was too high. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to go and we're going to repeat that, gradually stepping up my torque until I get to my final torque. Okay, so the head's all torqued down. It is time to do valves. So we got to lash all the valves on this thing. So I got my feeler gauges here, a 6 and a 7/1000. Right here underneath the hood, you should have a sticker right there. And if you look right here, intake cold, 6/1000ths of an inch, exhaust 7/1000ths. So we're gonna do that. I'll show you real quick how to do one, and then here we go. So first off, what we're gonna be doing, we're gonna turn our cam. Okay. Turn it so this is a non-interference engine, so I can do this. So we're turning it so the valve, you look at the camshaft down here, and this end of the lifter is on the low spot of the cam. And so, you'll need a screwdriver. Okay, this is an exhaust valve, so it's a 7/1000th shim. I don't know why I shoved the 6 all the way in there. Anyway, we're gonna take our wrench, loosen the nut. We're gonna back this, clean it a little bit first. Okay, back this off a smidgen. We stick our 7/1000ths right in this little gap right here. Ooh, we're gonna move it until it's hard to move. About like that. Still movable. We're not smashing it. Put this on there. Be very careful not to turn the screw anymore. We're gonna just tighten that down just a little bit. There's a torque spec in the manual, but we'll check it again. Just it slides in there nice and tight. So that's one. I'm gonna rinse and repeat for the rest of them. Okay, so I got all the valves lashed, the rockers, whatever. Anyway, so I got all those done. Now it's time to stab the distributor in. So the manual tells you to make sure it's at top dead center. I don't have a timing belt on it, but to make sure top dead center, make sure the number 1 valves are not touching, are not riding on the lobes. So that actually puts you to where your little dot here is down, is 180 out. So straight down. Got some play there. Got some play there. Number 4 cylinder though, there's no play. So when this is straight up and down, number 4 is off. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and stab the distributor there. Let me show you a couple other things that it showed. So, all right, let's try this again. The battery went dead on the last one. So getting ready to stab the distributor. I've been looking at factory service manual on a lot of this stuff just to make sure I'm doing it right. So your pickup needs to be pointed at here, at this one. Use the vacuum advanced modulator to, as reference, pointed at this piece where this one clips, point it there, and stab it in. When it's in, it'll move over here. So let's go ahead and stab it.
It also said that you want to stab it so your adjustment here is centered on that bolt. So let's turn that so it points there, center of that adjustment is on the bolt, and come on, it doesn't want to go in. There it is. That slides right in. There we are. All right. Distributor stabbed in. By the book.
There you got it. We'll see if I put it in there correctly when I go to start the thing. Cool. All right. Okay. So valve curve's on there. Next thing to do would be the timing belt. I did it already, but anyway, I'll show you what I did to make sure it's all lined up. You stab the distributor. After you stab the distributor, I wouldn't move this. Okay, just leave it where it was. And then you turn the bottom. You got your keyway dealie here. You should have a little dot right there. You have a pointer right here. You line that up. Line that up, and you put the time belt on. Then after the time belt is on, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing. Let's turn it all the way around. Okay, turn it. Now, this and this. Okay, we got this dot, this one right here lined up exactly on that little pointer. Then if we come up here, we got our dot here, mark here, exactly lined up on this mark on your cover. Yeah, it can move a little bit, but it's lined up. See that? It's lined up. The other thing is, go back here, and yeah, this moves back and forth a little bit, but you get your distributor cap, number 4 spark plug, which is this one right here, and you stick your cap on there like that, and then you look at it. Your pickup is pointed at the number 4 cylinder, which is the one at the back. So that should be timed. Well, that should be all right. So time belt's on correct. And so yeah, next thing to do is just bolt work. Throw everything back together, bolt everything back together. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's see, timing cover, intake manifold, exhaust manifold. Yeah, bolt everything back together and get it ready to start and drive. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll see if she starts. So there we go. All right, we got it back together. I've got a few things to button up. I still got to put my cross member on here, finish putting that in there. But I've got coolant in it, I got oil in it. All that's in. So let's see if she'll run. Let's see if it'll run. I'll set you guys over here. All right, here we go. like that, it runs. No bubbling in there. Yeah, that looks good. So I gotta do timing on it, and yeah, I'm excited. Oh, I might need to open the garage door. That's probably a good idea. Anyway, smoking a little bit. So, oops. I'll turn that off. Anyway, smoking a little bit. It's pretty normal, but yeah, looking good. Excited about this. So I'll get it all buttoned up, and that's how to change a head gasket. All right, it's all back together. Purrs like a kitten. So still gotta adjust my clutch. Still gotta I got timing adjusted already, but yeah. Runs great. Not smoking. So yeah. Yep. Just got up the temperature, just kicked down the idle, so yeah, pretty happy with it. So how do you change the head gasket? Thanks for watching.